Hello everyone, I'm Carthu, and welcome back to the dojo. I know it's been a little while, I'm about a week late on this video, well, a little under, but it's all because of the festivities of Valentine's Day. For those of you who don't know, I've had a girlfriend for 4 years now, so we like to, spend some time together on this holiday. Had a great time, went to Broadway to see the musical Anastasia, we saw a movie, we, had dinner, we went out shopping and stuff. Just overall had just a nice, relaxed time since we're both students and work. It's kind of hard for us to make that free time. So I apologize for not uploading much this week, but as I get more used to this new semester and new school schedule, I will adjust my recording schedule appropriately. Also trying to fix my laptop. That way I can edit at school while I record at home. If that's possible, if that gets done, excellent. We'll be in a much better situation and videos will be coming out much, much more consistently. But anyway, guys, you are here for today's discussion, and that is on the past of Jiren. What can we learn from this? What can we grab from it? And what takeaways are people missing? So let's start off with a recap of Jiren's history. Jiren's parents were killed by an evildoer. After that, a master of some sort of martial art, we assume, took Jiren under his wing and started teaching him. Jiren became stronger over time, and that eventually led to him gaining allies under this master. Eventually, him and his allies and his master were confronted by the same evildoer again. They stood up against this evildoer. Jiren was so positive that he could take out this evildoer this time, but instead, some of his friends were killed, and his master was killed. While Jiren did want to fight again, his friends basically said no. After losing his friends like this, Jiren realizes that he can only rely on strength and that trust is meaningless. And strength is the only justice in the world. This search of strength and further strength eventually led him to either forming or becoming a member of the Pride Troopers. That part is a little unsure. This search for strength and Jiren's solitude led Belmod to finding him. This also has me believing that Jiren was found by Belmod before he joined the Pride Troopers, but maybe it's because, Jiren is always off on his own doing his own thing, like meditating, training, and things like that, that Belmod, found him in solitude, regardless of the people he had around them, because Jiren didn't trust these people, he just knew that he was strong enough to keep them around. Alright, so that's the overview. But what do you guys think? Leave your opinions and counterpoints in the comments down below. I'm kidding, guys, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna be one of those guys that just tells you what happened and not explain some stuff, right? You saw by the time in the video I was BSing you. Alright, let's get into it. So what can we learn from this? The first major thing that we need to learn is that this person, who is the evildoer, wants Jiren to get stronger. Use the example of Sasuke from Naruto. I know a lot of people are drawing comparisons in terms of their backstory, and literally that is perfect. This evildoer is not someone that wanted Jiren dead. He could have killed him twice, as far as we know. This evildoer seems to actually want Jiren to keep furthering his strength progression. He killed his parents, which led Jiren to a master that made him stronger. He killed the master, which led Jiren to seeking other methods of strength beyond that style of training. Imagine if Goku never trained anywhere besides Master Roshi's place. Goku would not be even remotely as strong as he is now, and he would have died 20 times over. Right? So training under one banner is, in the Dragon Ball series at least, considered the wrong method. You need to expand your horizons and get stronger other ways. This villain not only pushed Jiren to get stronger, but also pushed him to get stronger in his own self, not with the help of others. The teamwork aspect is not something this evil force seems to be telling Jiren to go after, right? Jiren does have the Pride Troopers, but when Jiren fights, Jiren fights. He didn't really want Toppo's help earlier or Dispo's help earlier in the first confrontation with Ultra Instinct Goku. He literally just said, no, you're not needed. I guess you could say with Toppo, he was willing to let some of the burden off onto Toppo, but even then, he was disappointed with Toppo, and this makes more sense now. Jiren sees strength as the absolute, so he calls Toppo pathetic. He expected more from him, because Jiren only sees strength. Jiren wants that strength to be utilized. He wants people who are strong. He doesn't want to deal with weaklings. From his own experience, the weak die and obey the strong, and that's it. So Toppo not being able to take out Vegeta means Toppo's weaker than Vegeta. Basically, Vegeta is what Toppo must obey. The laws that Vegeta would impose on the world. Right? So if they were in the same universe and Vegeta fought him, Vegeta wins. Alright, the weak obey the strong. That's how it works, at least from Jiren's perception of things. So Jiren strove to be stronger and stronger, and it seems like this evil force also pushed him that way. So a lot of people have been asking, who is this evil force? This evil being? Have we ever met him before? Her? Whoever? Has this being been met? No. Doesn't seem like it. People are saying it's Belmod. Why? Belmod says specifically how he met Jiren afterwards, and Jiren probably wouldn't be so decent around Belmod if Belmod was the evildoer. He probably has pretty vivid memories of his friends dying to this force. You could also say that it was Toppo. Toppo, in training to become the next god of destruction, went around and, murdered people, basically. Okay, why let Jiren live, then? Doesn't make sense, and, Toppo is presumably not that much older than Jiren. We don't know for sure. He could be. But how long has he been a god of destruction training then? How long has he been, this understudy, this underling for the role? It doesn't make sense in my opinion. But, anything can happen. Belmod could be lying and Jiren could just be playing along for the sake of his wish. Or maybe Toppo is the villain and Jiren just never knew. He was in a disguise or something, like that big black robe that he wore in the initial preliminary saga before the recruitment arc of this tournament. It's possible, guys. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like, oh no, there's no way it's ever gonna happen. It's definitely a possibility. I'm just not seeing it. It's also very possible that we'll never see this villain. Though, I think we'll get more in depth with Jiren's backstory as the tournament wraps up and the fights escalate to eventually, we all know, Goku versus Jiren. So those are the main things we can pull away from this, is it's not Belmod, it's probably not Toppo, and it's a person that wants Jiren to become stronger and is pushing him to get that way. And it seems to have worked. Now, some people may be saying, this is a kind of generic backstory, it doesn't really seem that good. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it is a really, unique and awesome backstory. But rarely characters do. I don't think there's any real good example of a not generic backstory in Dragon Ball. You gotta remember, Vegeta wasn't always a Saiyan Prince, he was actually just a super elite. And Goku was just this alien from another planet sent to Earth. Both of these backstories are basically just Superman and Zod. I mean, they're nothing unique. Toriyama has always been influenced by popular culture in his writing. Now, am I saying this is related to Naruto in any way? It's very similar, I'm not gonna deny that. But as far as we know, this isn't Jiren's brother, this is just an evildoer. And, this isn't about, family power being passed down. Again, as far as we know, it seems like Jiren is an anomaly that had some potential to get stronger, and this villain was just trying to test a way to do it. It's very decent. Especially in presentation, it's very good. If you want to take it just for its presentation value, it's actually really well directed and decently well animated for how limited it is. It really shows us the scale of, what's been happening in Jiren's life. It's really not a bad backstory, it's just not a great one or a revolutionary one, and honestly, I don't know what you were expecting. I'm not saying you can not have the hope that something is ungeneric. I mean, Dragon Ball does things that are ungeneric a lot, especially considering the time period that Dragon Ball, the original run, came out. That's including Z, by the way, because the manga is just called Dragon Ball. Anyway, the original run of Dragon Ball back in the late 80s, early 90s, always, played with your expectations, and it really did change the landscape of shonen battle manga and battle anime, but Dragon Ball Super is not that anymore. Though it can subvert our expectations, it probably won't, and I'm not too upset about that. But more importantly than even that, the fact that Dragon Ball Super in itself will probably never be this, revolutionary series, we have the fact that Jiren is supposed to be a somewhat generic character. Jiren is supposed to be our Superman sort of playoff guy who has his own Justice League, but, he's so strong and so independent that he's basically his own powerhouse, you know what I mean? Oh, you have this guy with this unique ability, he, can weigh things down. You have this unique guy who can blow himself up and, roll around. You have the shield lady. You have the speed guy. He's the Flash. You have Topo, who's really just like a pseudo Jiren. He's like the Captain Marvel of the group. And then you have Jiren. And Jiren is like a quote-unquote Superman. Now, he's not like Superman explicitly or exactly, right? He's not, this pinnacle of the American values, even though Superman denied and denounced his American citizenship. But that's besides the point. More importantly here, it's more that he's like the symbol of justice in this, justice organization. Notice how they always say justice, much like the Justice League. You have this group of people that seek justice with their figurehead being this strong powerhouse who has an eye special ability, where his eyes glow red and it does a powerful move, and he's got, super strength and super speed and flight, and he's, all around this great hero. But he's also alone because his race was killed. Not by a person, mind you, by a planet destroying itself. But still, they both don't have a race. They both don't have people that are at their level of strength. They see their strength as something above the average, above the norm. And while Superman seems to have a better conception of justice, and Jiren's conception of justice basically boils down to strength, they both use their strength to execute justice in their own manner, avoiding conventional means of justice like law enforcement. Or, in our Dragon Ball case, the gods. So these people are similar, right? And he's trying to be the generic superhero, the first superhero, Superman. By being a generic superhero, Jiren innately has generic concepts behind him, including his backstory and execution, and even his design is kind of bland, but I think that's also on purpose. Toriyama is not known for his bland character designs, and Toriyama designed Jiren. So guys, if you don't like this backstory, completely understandable. It's entirely opinion-based. Just know that we know some things from this backstory, like the fact that the evildoer wanted Jiren to get stronger, presumably. The fact that it's not Belmod or Topo, presumably. And something that we're waiting for, that we'll hopefully get in a new episode of Dragon Ball Super soon, is how Jiren obtained this level of strength without having the gods to train him. Because Jiren doesn't use God Ki. So it seems very, very likely that Jiren wasn't trained by either Margarita or Belmod. Anyway, guys, this is all just my opinion. This video went on long enough. I didn't actually think there was that much to cover, but here we are. So what do you guys think? Leave your opinions and counterpoints in the comments down below, and subscribe if you want more Dragon Ball videos. But for now, video outro!